चौदह ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामचर श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से गौ श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गौप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की माय पुनोदीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगामय की जय। यमुनामय की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। सम्मित गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauradvashe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I thought we can revise these 10 factors affecting the influence of the modes. You know the 10 factors? उसको ऑन करना है. Eyes. Eleven, 13, 4. श्री गुरु प्रभु ये क्लास में है ना, वो तो प्रसाद के लिए थे वहां पर। ऐसा क्यों? नहीं, this rule we made, no, anybody who is there in the temple premises, he has to sit here. Not allowed. है वो अभी ऑनलाइन है वहाँ पर, हाँ उनको बता दो।
Hare Krishna. So those devotees who are in NVCC, they should come directly to class and attend physically here. They cannot attend online class. Otherwise, they will not be marked attendance.
Correct.
All devotees should come and physically attend class.
If they are seen in prasadam hall, that means they are present here. They can't be taking prasadam and not attending class. Either they have to give up prasadam or give up class. One of them. चलो, we'll proceed. ठीक है, सबके पास तो है ना? ठीक है। 11:13:4 आगमोपप्रजादेश कालकर्म च जन्म च ध्यानं मंत्रोत संस्कारो दशैते गुणहेतवा। According to the quality of religious scriptures, water, one's association with one's children or with people in general, the particular place, the time, activities, birth, meditation, chanting of mantras and purificatory rituals, the modes of nature become differently prominent. ठीक है? So these are 10 factors affecting the influence of the modes. Anyway, we can read a few verses before this. So here, this is Hams Avatar. So the first verse, okay, read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion and ignorance, pertain to material intelligence and not to the spirit soul. By development of material goodness, one can conquer the modes of passion and ignorance, and by cultivation of transcendental goodness, one may free oneself even from material goodness.
Okay, so this we have discussed. Next, read the next.
When the living entity becomes strongly situated in the mode of goodness, then religious principles characterized by devotional service to me become prominent. One can strengthen the mode of goodness by cultivation of those things that are already situated in goodness, and thus religious principles arise.
Okay, so when the living entity is situated in goodness, then dharma, then he can practice dharma, which is, and of course the topmost dharma is mad bhakti. So one can strengthen the mode of goodness by cultivation of those things that are already situated in goodness. Okay, third.
Religious principles strengthened by the mode of goodness destroy the influence of passion and ignorance. When passion and ignorance are overcome, their original cause, irreligion, is quickly vanquished.
Yes. So the cause of adharma is Rajagun and Tamagun. So because of influence of Rajagun and Tamagun, one practices adharma. So if sattva increases, then Rajas and Tamas will reduce, and then adharma also will reduce. So therefore, one has to cultivate the mode of goodness, as we have already discussed. You remember that purport which we read? 14th chapter, 10th verse. You remember what Prabhupada wrote? If one wants, one can cultivate goodness by practice. Practice. So it is something to be practiced, cultivated. So therefore, understanding these factors which influence the modes is necessary. So then we can make adjustments in our life so that the mode of goodness will increase. So then he is describing these 10 factors, and then in the here also in this purport it is mentioned, one can increase the mode of goodness by selecting religious scriptures in goodness, pure water, friendship with other person, goodness, and so on. One should scrupulously avoid any of these 10 items that may be polluted by an inferior mode of nature. So this is our choice, how we want to select. So it is our selection. Now these 10 factors are explained in the next verse. Tat satvikam evaisham yad yad vriddha prachakshate nindanti tamasam tat rajasam tat upekshitam.
Among the 10 items I have just mentioned, the great sages who understand Vedic knowledge have praised and recommended those who are in mode of goodness, criticized and rejected those in mode of ignorance, and shown indifference to those in the mode of passion.
Okay. So the sages have praised items in sattva. Okay, next one. Satvikanyeva seveta puman sattva vivdhe tato dharmas tato jnanam yavat smritir apohanam. Until one revives one's direct knowledge of the spirit soul and drives away the illusory identification with the material body and mind caused by 3 modes of nature, one must cultivate those things in the mode of goodness. Okay, so one must cultivate. By increasing the mode of goodness, one automatically can understand and practice religious principles, and by such practice, so here also you can see it said practice, by such practice transcendent knowledge is awakened. Okay, so now the explanation of these 10 items is given in this purport. Okay, read the purport.
One who desires to cultivate the mode of goodness
so one who desires to cultivate mode of goodness. So if one has a desire, then one should use the appropriate things. Okay.
must consider the following points. One should study religious scriptures that teach detachment from mental speculation and material sense gratification, not scriptures that provide rituals and mantras to increase material ignorance.
Okay, so this is the first one. First one is what? What is the first one? Agama. Agama is scriptures. So what are scriptures in goodness and what are in Raju and Tama? Okay, so there are Puranas in the three modes. So then accordingly, so what are Puranas in goodness? Puranas in goodness, BRC, you have, no?
Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam,
Padma Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam is Shuddha Sattva.
Shuddha Sattva. So Padma Puran is there. Then that is in Shiva Puran is in mode of ignorance. Then Purana is related to Lord Vishnu.
So Vishnu Puran, Vara Puran, Matsya Puran. Then this one.
Garuda Puran, no. Garuda Puran is more of different.
Garuda Puran is goodness.
Okay, what are in passion?
Brahma Puran, Brahmanda Puran.
Huh?
Shiv Mahapuran is there.
Online devotees?
Skanda Puran.
Say na.
Skanda Puran.
The online devotees?
Speak.
Prabhuji, in passion, no? Huh? Prabhuji, in passion, these books, no, who are material success, prestige, heavy enjoyment. Then in ignorance will be literatures or books which are promoting violence, atheism, intoxication, lust, and all
Okay,
these.
that is correct, but we have Puranas in three modes also, no?
Yes, Prabhuji. Puranas.
So what are Puranas in mode of passion and ignorance?
Brahma Puran, Brahmanda Puran, Brahmavivarta Puran.
Acha, Brahmavivarta Purana is in passion.
At least I heard, Prabhuji. Markandeya also. Markandeya. Bhavishya.
Acha. And ignorance?
Matsya, Kurma, Linga, Shiva, Skanda.
Okay, Google search.
No, Google nahi, Prabhuji. This Discover Yourself book.
आप बोलो ना इसको बंद करो इसको क्या जरूरत है ये वो भागवतम लगाओ आप हाँ बोलो आपका पुराणों का नाम बोलो
Matsya, Kurma, Linga, Shiva, Skanda, Agni.
So Satya Puran, Satva, in Satva Purana are Vishnu Puran, Bhagavad Puran, Narad Puran, Garud Puran, Padma Puran, Varaha Puran. Then in Rajas, Brahmand Puran, Brahma Vaivarvat Puran, Markandeya, Bhavishya, Vamana and Brahma Puran. And in Tamas, Matsya Puran, Kurma Puran, Linga Puran, Shiv Puran, Skanda Puran, Agni Puran.
Good. Okay, so we focus mostly on Bhagavatam. Okay, next is, okay, continue reading that purport.
One should study religious scriptures that teach detachment from mental speculation and material sanctification, not scriptures that provide rituals and mantras to increase material ignorance. Such materialistic scriptures do not give attention to the Supreme Person of Godhead and thus are basically atheistic.
So that is the reason why Narad Muni criticized Vyasdev, because he has written so many others also.
One should accept pure water for quenching thirst and cleaning the body.
Yes, so that is the next one. Apa. Apa is water. So only pure water, not wine, whiskey. So those are also different types of liquids. So one should accept only pure water. Hopefully the water is pure.
In passion, all these artificial beverages come, no, which are
Correct.
related to the senses and all.
Correct. Okay, next.
There is no need for a devotee to use colognes,
Perfumes.
perfume, whiskey, beer, etc., which are all polluted manifestations of water.
Yes.
One should associate with the persons who are cultivating detachment from the material world and not with those who are materially attached or sinful in their behavior.
Right, so this is praja, association. Association, praja. Asat Santyag, Ek Vaishnavachar, Stri Sangi, Eka Sadhu, Krishna Bhakta. So all these types of association.
One should live in a solitary place where devotional service is practiced and discussed among Vaishnavas.
Yes, so this is Desha. So one should be in a place where there is Krishna Katha. So that is the place. And of course we know places in different modes. Cities and towns, mode of passion. Villages in the mode of goodness, brothels, liquor houses, ignorance, and temples in Vaikuntha. So that is Desha. Next.
Our home also we can make into one mini Vrindavan.
Yes, home also you can make into temple.
Prabhuji, yesterday also you told about discussion with devotees. So here also discussion. So can you explain some more, because that is most machita madgat panna. So what exactly in brahmachari or in devotees, what so much discussion should be there?
Yeah, so discussion is always good. Discussion about spiritual subject matters. You go to Bhagavad Gita 9.1. Purport. Okay, so here you can see here Prabhupada is writing. Discussion of Krishna is very potent. Okay, we'll read this paragraph. Read from here. The devotees
are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees.
Yes, understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees.
Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already discussed.
Okay, so that's go to that first paragraph. See here also Prabhupada is writing. The message of Supreme Personality of Godhead
are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among devotees. This cannot be achieved by association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge.
So you can see the emphasis on discussion. So this is what we're doing now. This is only discussion. So even individually we can do that. 2-3 devotees can sit and discuss. So you can see when there's discussion, this is what happens. So then, and therefore Prabhupada is writing, then the subject matter is realized. Because then there's a better understanding when there's discussion. So then when there's discussion, then different devotees have different realizations, different references. So there is more churning of the topic, then there is better realization, then better application. So all this takes place when there is discussion. And if one is sitting alone, then basically one is discussing with one's mind. So unless the mind is very Krishna conscious, it is difficult. The mind will say better go to sleep. So therefore it is best if one can discuss with 2-3 devotees, it is always good. So personally, definitely I have that experience when in some of the initial years 2-3 of us would sit and discuss Bhagavatam. So that really helps actually. The understanding, remembrance is much more. And that's what Krishna is also saying, Macchitta Madgata Prana. That is also discussion only, no? So that's what Krishna himself is saying. And then it becomes more lively, less likelihood of dozing off. So it's always good if one can do that. And along with that, reading also is going on. So reading is going on plus discussion. So it serves both the purposes. ठीक है ना?
Yesterday we were discussing about mode of passion and ignorance and the free will, the aspect of free will. So there, just to clarify, Prabhuji, the conclusion is you were giving one example of a person who is addicted. In front of him if there is a beverage, then the modes will act on him. There is no free will aspect. The modes will act.
He has free will, but he cannot access it. Free will is there. The free will of the jiva is always there. Na? Nobody takes away the free will. Even Krishna doesn't interfere. But because he is habituated to drinking, the mode of ignorance overpowers him and makes him drink.
When such person will access the free will, Prabhuji? Only when he gets knowledge?
That discussion will come now.
Will come, okay.
Yes.
And there in that discussion we discussed also that regarding mode of goodness, that the person in knowledge he chooses to be in mode of goodness, isn't it?
Correct.
That was the conclusion.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
So see, only when there is knowledge there is discrimination. Na? So in order to discriminate, one must know what is good and what is bad.
Okay. Now these 10 items are also like its knowledge aspect.
Yes.
To discriminate.
Yes.
Okay.
So these 10 items are told so that we can discriminate.
Okay.
What to drink, what not to drink, what to eat, what not to eat, whom to associate, whom not to associate.
Yes.
And of course these things are there in Bhagavad Gita also. Okay, so that's about Desha. Then Kala.
One should not be spontaneously attracted to busy highways, shopping centers, sports stadiums, and so on. Concerning time, one should rise by 4 o'clock in the morning and utilize the auspicious Brahma Muhurta to advance in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, so regarding time we know best is in the morning, then as the day passes, Rajogun increases, night time, Tamagun increases.
Similarly, one should avoid the sinful influence of hours such as midnight, when ghosts and demons are encouraged to become active. Concerning work, one should execute one's prescribed duties, follow the regulatory principles of spiritual life, and utilize all of one's energy for pious purposes. Time should not be wasted in frivolous or materialistic activities, of which there are now literally millions in modern society. One can cultivate birth.
Okay, so that is karma. Activities. So one should perform only those activities which increase goodness. So not perform those activities which will increase passion and ignorance. So for us devotees, what are the activities which we should avoid, which increase rajas and tamas? Okay, gossiping, useless talk, oversleeping, overeating, okay, atyar prayasasya, prajalpo, niyamagraha, janasanga, laulyam, materialistic greed.
Prabhuji, query?
Go ahead.
Regarding these ghosts and all these people, when do they arise, Prabhuji, at night? Because our Russian devotees, they get up in the morning only at 1:30 and 2 and they start chanting, Prabhuji.
So what's the problem?
No, when did this ghost come? At what time is their time? And when
So that we have read in this third canto, no? That pastime of Diti.
Evening.
So that is Sandhya.
Okay.
That is the time for Lord Shiva with ghosts and spirits. So that is why it said during that time one should not sleep. So that time one should do only religious activities.
Reading, chanting, hearing.
So that is why during that time we have Gaur Arti. And then Bhagavad Gita class. So the program that our acharyas have given us is very scientific. From all viewpoints it is perfect. So actually that's very good actually, Gaur Arti during that time. So fully spiritual activity.
Prabhuji, from many years, no, my parents, no, they do everyday Gaur Arti in the evening.
Very nice.
And after Gaur Arti, Brahma Samhita and one bhajan they will sing both.
So in one temple, one brahmachari asked me, so and these things are happening these days. So he said that he asked, so what do you think about playing games, some sports like cricket or basketball? For what? To increase team building amongst devotees. So what is your opinion?
Prabhuji, while reading also team building ho sakta hai na? Doing kirtan also we can do team building.
Correct.
Reading also they're doing some practical service also is team building only, no?
Correct. Okay, let's hear from the brahmacharis. You go to Talasri. You're going to Talasri farm. You'll find this that net. I don't know, it's for badminton or
Hare Krishna
basketball or whatever, I don't know. And I heard, anyway, we don't want to take any names. And I heard that sometimes the leader over there also plays along with the devotees.
Instead of playing basketball, they can do book distribution, team building.
Okay, wait. We want to hear from the brahmacharis.
Prabhu, just like Krishna.
The brahmacharis are not speaking. What is this?
Brahmachari, we are also participating.
First of all, to play these sports, some physical strength also required. And regular activity. So it is not possible, and it will increase the passion.
Okay, so what if one has physical strength, then what?
It will increase the passions, and instead of team building, some different thing will build up. That bodily consciousness will build up, and enviousness, comparison, unnecessary thing will develop, because it is not Krishna conscious. Instead of that, if we do some services together, that will increase our respect for each other. That because my personal understanding that when we serve with devotees, that relationship will build up very nicely.
Correct.
We can know each other very nicely.
Correct.
And we can develop gratitude for that devotee sacrifice to serve Prabhupada mission.
Good point. Somebody like to add?
Any play, whosoever plays, basically, it's not like Krishna conscious. It's not for Krishna's purpose. Mainly people play for entertainment, to pass their time, to make their bodies, to develop a stamina, and also to defeat one another. So if it is Krishna conscious, if you are playing in Krishna consciousness, that is not possible. We are not so advanced like Gopas. So if we are at that stage, then we can play. Like Sarvam Bhattacharya, and they are playing like this in the Narendra Sarovar. They are splashing water. So if we are at that consciousness, then it is okay. But we are not at consciousness, mostly it will lead us to downward. And Prabhupada says also, frivolous sports, Prabhupada says that.
Correct.
They spend simply waste of time.
Yes, waste of time. Anybody else?
Our acharyas.
Wait 1 second.
We never see acharyas, means like anything without concerning Krishna, nothing to be doing something which is like mental, and already we have done before coming to Krishna consciousness. So it will again repeat that same consciousness.
Yes. So we have to see the example set by the acharyas also.
Prabhuji, like swimming and walking or jogging, that much is okay, but other things, it actually tendency is there to increase the passion.
Right. So I think the Shrutikiti Prabhu told about swimming, no? That pastime he told, no? Shrutikiti Prabhu told, no, that pastime about swimming. He and that Paramahamsa Maharaj and Nitai, they had gone for swimming. He told, no? No. Jew beach, they'd gone for swimming, and then the other two left, then only the Shrutikirti Prabhu was going. Huh? So then, and then Prabhupada came to know. So then one afternoon he calls him. So he tells Paramahamsa Maharaj to call him. So he calls him, and then and even though Srila Prabhupada knows, so he was playing around. Where have you been? So of course Shrutikirti Prabhu explains that how before he entered Prabhupada's room he was preparing how to face Srila Prabhupada, and so he was planning how to speak. So Prabhupada was just playing around, he knew everything. So where have you been? So then he explained that previously 3 of us were going swimming, then they got busy, so I was going alone. So and then Srila Prabhupada said, so you have been going swimming? So Shrutikirti Prabhu says, yes, I've been going for a few days. Srila Prabhupada said, that's all right. But then Shrutikirti Prabhu said, from that day I never went swimming. So that's the pastime regarding swimming. Huh? What to draw conclusion depends on oneself. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, when he first took devotees to Vrindavan in the Yamuna, then he allowed devotees to be little playful and swimming. He allowed that. That much he allowed. So, and of course Srila Prabhupada went to walking. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada's general understanding was, there is one lecture where Srila Prabhupada is almost challenging the devotees, and he's saying, you tell me which activity in Krishna consciousness is not simply pleasurable. From morning to night, everything we are doing is simply pleasurable. We're getting up in the morning, we have darshan of the deities, we're dancing in front of the deities, we are chanting the holy names, then we hear Bhagavatam, then we have Krishna Prasad. So, as Prabhupada, what's the difficulty? So everything is pleasurable, everything is recreation only. So what is the need of any other recreation? Krishna conscious activities by themselves are recreation. Of course, if one does not have any taste for them, then it becomes like a big burden. But otherwise, if somebody has at least a little taste for Krishna conscious activities, then it's simply recreation. It's not like some troublesome thing, like working in a factory or something. So therefore, Prabhupada's idea was, there's no need of any other form of recreation. And as Balabhadra Prabhu has rightly said, that any of those types of sports and all that, one thing is, so the answer that I gave that devotee there, so the first thing is waste of time. So one does not know how much time one has in this present body. At any moment, finish. So why should one waste time in such activities? And if you talk about team building, the Shastra says, actually we were discussing that verse, we know the famous verse 438, the Prachetas, Sauhardena. So there in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that there can be cooperation when devotees act with one purpose, and that is to please Krishna. So when Krishna is in the center, there can be true team building and cooperation. That is the way there can be true team building. So nowhere in the Shastra it is said that team building is achieved by sports. Which Shastra is saying this? No Shastra is saying that. So the Shastra is saying one wants cooperation, team building, then keep Krishna in the center. But if one is not Krishna conscious, then such sports only increase materialistic competitive mentality. That is what increases. So where is the question of team building? So it's all concoction. So one should not concoct these things unnecessarily. So, yes, wastage of time basically. Wastage of time. So this is what is our understanding. Children is different. Children obviously. Devotee children are. Children are meant for playing.
Prabhu, but there also Narad Muni example.
Yes, Narad Muni is special. We can't expect all children to be like Narad. But of course, there also if the games can be made Krishna conscious, that is good. That is the responsibility of parents and teachers to make the games Krishna conscious. So that's the responsibility of the teacher. So then teacher also plays along with the children. No brahmachari teachers for children. There you give class and come back. Nothing more. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. So then, you wanted to say something, bro? What's that?
Even if brahmacharya is playing, so it is not going to set good example.
Good point.
It will be like a fun for others.
Correct. So definitely if other people see brahmacharis playing such games and all that, then that becomes the standard actually. That becomes the standard. So, yes, actually Shuddhikati Prabhu was making that point, na? He was saying that whatever standards you said, that is what the other devotees, congregation devotees are going to follow. He said that, right? So, yes, so if brahmacharis do these things, then what do we expect others to do? Already inclinations and tendencies are there. So therefore it's surely not a good standard. Okay, next.
One can cultivate birth in the mode of goodness by accepting the second birth of initiation from bona fide spiritual master and learning to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. One should not accept initiation or so-called spiritual birth in unauthorized mystical or religious cults in the modes of passion and ignorance. One should meditate upon
Okay, so that is Janma. So as we know, there are 3 types of Janma. What are they?
Chakra, Shrotra.
Okay,
Shrotra.
first is Shaukra. That is the birth of the body. Then next is
Shrotra.
Savitra. The next is Savitra. And the third one is Yagyak. Yes. The third one is Yagyak. This is there in the Bhagavatam itself. It comes in the 4th canto. I think it comes in Narada's teachings to Prachetas, the last chapter of the 4th canto. Savitra for us is first initiation. And in fact that purport is a very good purport for all devotees to read. I don't remember the exact reference, but you can search. It comes almost in the beginning of the 4th canto, 30th chapter. You can see quickly. 4th canto, 30th chapter. Already, I think it's almost in the beginning only it comes. When Narad Muni begins to speak to the... 431.10, yes. 431.10. Okay, theek hai. So, all devotees can read that later on. But that's a very nice purport which Srila Prabhupada is giving regarding this birth and initiation. So very many practical points Srila Prabhupada is giving over there. Yes. Theek hai, it's okay. Okay, let's proceed. Then next is Dhyanam.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person of Godhead as the enjoyer of all sacrifices And similarly, one should meditate on the lives of great devotees and saintly persons. One should not meditate on lusty women and envious men.
Yes, so meditation. So on what are we meditating? So this is something very important because the mind has a tendency to meditate on so many things. So the mind has tendency to meditate on so many sense objects. So therefore, one has to be careful to withdraw the mind and meditate on Krishna, devotees. उसको बंद करो. So one has to be careful that one is meditating on spiritual subject matters. That is dhyanam. Otherwise the mind has a tendency to go towards so many other things. Yato nishalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyam yetad. So one has to draw the mind from wherever the mind goes. Okay, so that is about dhyanam. Next.
Concerning mantras, one should follow the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and not other songs, verses, poetry or mantras that glorify the kingdom of illusion.
Okay, so this is again important. Oh, darwaza band karo. फिर भी बंद. अच्छा थोड़ा हवा है लेकिन ठीक है. So one should be careful that one is only chanting authorized mantras, songs. So nowadays people are coming up with many things. So nowadays, I also came to know recently this whole concept of what? This bhajan clubbing. You heard about that? So this has become quite popular. So basically some materialistic people, those who are little spiritually minded, so maybe for punya or whatever, so they organize some bhajans and kirtans, and sometimes they invite ISKCON devotees also, and for the sake of preaching, then ISKCON devotees are also going. But then I also came to know that in some places even ISKCON is organizing such things in the name of preaching. So, of course, so then if one is simply thinking that for the sake of preaching, then one should sing some other bhajans, popular bhajans which attract people and all that, then that is not authorized. Srila Prabhupada was very clear on that point, that we don't sing anything, we don't speak anything simply to attract the public. That is not our purpose. I think so Shrutagiri Prabhu told this. So once he asked or somebody else asked? I think so he only asked. How can we chant kirtans in such a way that the public will be interested? Prabhupada immediately said, we don't chant for the public to be interested. We chant simply for Krishna's pleasure, that's all. And that was Prabhupada's stand, and then very clear on that. So we cannot dilute these things. We cannot, just because some bhajans are popular, then you begin to sing them just to attract the people. No, we are not here to attract the people. We are here to attract Krishna. If we attract Krishna, then Krishna will attract the people. That is the Siddhanta, watering the root of the tree. So if we by our own endeavors try to attract people, nobody will be attracted. Because the real person who is going to attract is Krishna, who is seated within the heart of the people. That is the Siddhanta. What is our capacity to attract the people? That means in one sense we are trying to take the place of Krishna. Krishna is all attractive. How can I attract? So these sort of things are surely not recommended. Yes, so bona fide bhajans means bhajans written by our Vaishnava-acharyas. So there are purports of Srila Prabhupada where these points are very clearly mentioned, that we should sing only authorized songs, authorized bhajans, especially written by our acharyas like Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur. So that is what Srila Prabhupada recommended, and Srila Prabhupada was very clear on these points. And so in the name of preaching we cannot be doing all these things. Otherwise we simply will get influenced by the lower modes. And we have heard that sometimes in these big kirtan melas and all these, they do funny things actually. So therefore these are some things which in the recent times are going slightly off track. And so we should never indulge in these things actually.
Yes. Prabhuji, recently I visited Delhi in one of the place for some meeting. So the event is coordinated by the connected devotees community. So leader is devotee is singing, and the other community people, just they are organizing program, they are repeating the things. After the same time the mic is taken by them only, and they are singing in their own way. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all the things. So how much and how long we should allow them to lead on mic? And even in temple we are not allowing any other person.
There is no question.
So they like to sing, but we are not allowing.
No, we cannot allow. What we do is all for the pleasure of Krishna. So it has to be by devotees, and it has to be done in the proper way for the pleasure of Krishna. Right? So again, our temple programs in front of the deities are again not a practice session. So we cannot allow devotees who are learning to sing in front of the deities. No. For the deities we offer the best. That's our standard. And so therefore only the devotees can sing.
Like one time one discussion came that we should allow our teenager devotee to participate once in a month.
Which devotees?
Teenager.
Teenager.
So but the question came that at least for worship initially devotee is required, for Mangalarati initially devotee is required, and they should be 16 rounded at least. The devotees participating in morning program, they at least 16 rounded. So when we put this criteria, then that is withdrawn. So what is the standard? Any specific standard is mentioned in somewhere for morning?
No, for temple programs it has to be proper devotees. Proper devotees who know how to sing properly. That has to be the standard. Because we are performing for the pleasure of Krishna. That criteria is very clear. We are performing for the pleasure of Krishna. It is not for one's own self-aggrandizement, or it's not for becoming popular, or it's not for making a show. So therefore, the proper standards have to be followed, and only those who are aware of the proper standards, they should be given chance. That has to be the standard. So, because the purpose is the pleasure of Krishna. So that is the purpose. So things have to be done in the proper way. Not that somebody is learning, practicing in the temple hall, in front of the deities. No, that is not the stand. So sometimes we see that on Saturday, Sunday, sometimes some congregation devotees are singing and they are making a mess of things. No, that can't be allowed. For the pleasure of the deities, everything has to be well done. So only those who are qualified, who know to do things, only they should be allowed. And there are, and of course, if you want to know about Kirtan standards, there is book by His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj. Kirtan standards. Here is there, no? Here it's available, no? You have read? You have read? The book of Jayadvaita Maharaj on Kirtan standards. Not available? Not available. This book is well known and available everywhere. How it's not available? Especially since you are in charge of the morning program, first you should read. If you want, I have a copy, I'll give you. You read and give it back. So that you can tell people what are the standards.
It's available on ISKCON Desire Tree also, Prabhuji, that book.
Okay.
Link is shared. Link is shared.
So in any case.
Prabhuji, but our first bhajan clubbing, I mean in a nice way I'm saying, that was started by our Srila Prabhupada in Tompkins Square Park. And in a very devotional way, and it was a very nice way he started that bhajan clubbing actually.
Yes, that's correct. Then we don't comment. Om Namah Shivaya. कौन रिपीट? अच्छा, they're singing. अच्छा, where you have seen? Oh, अच्छा. Sorry, ISKCON. So our ISKCON devotees are singing. What practical? माइक में बोलो जो भी बोलना है. अरे बोलो ना, क्या है उसमें, सब डिवोटी से है यहाँ पे, इतना क्या डल रहा है? I take the mic and speak. I can't hear in the first place.
Like Lord Shiva is a supreme Vaishnava. But can we glorify him by chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Bolo, and then Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So I am saying, is it allowed?
So did Srila Prabhupada sing like this?
No.
Finished. The matter ends. So what, Srila Prabhupada doesn't know that Shiva is a Vaishnava? He knows, no? Did he introduce? No. Finished. We can't do things which have been not introduced by the founder-acharya. We can't do these things. So I don't know all these things. So I'm not commenting on all these things. I don't know. So, but the point is, see, this is a bhajan is written by whom? Bilavangatala. Okay, so at least this is okay. But this singing Om Namah Shivaya and all this, out of question, totally out of question.
Guruji, even let us say on the day of Mahashivratri or on that particular day,
Lord Shiva will be very happy to hear his master being glorified. This is our standard. When is the Vaishnava is happy to have himself glorified or his master glorified? And the fundamental point is, what has our Acharya taught us? This is the fundamental point. We follow what our Acharya has taught. And there cannot be deviation from that. So, That is the whole point of that book which Bhakti Vikas Maharaj has written. Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. So this is the concern, that people are drifting away from the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. So we can't do things which our founder-acharya has not done, has not given. We can't do it. Then we are diluting, we are reducing the spiritual potency of the parampara by doing things like that. So Srila Prabhupada himself was very strict about all these things, and Jayadvaita Maharaj writes in his book that sometimes Prabhupada would stop kirtans also, right in between. Prabhupada would stop when he would see that the proper tunes are not sung or something else is sung. He would sometimes stop the kirtans, right in between. I think Shrutikirti Prabhu also told one pastime, I think. He told, no? So, why? Because purity of the parampara has to be maintained. Otherwise, apasampradayas will come. If they sing Om Namah Shivaya, then tomorrow something else also will come. This is how deviations take place, apasampradayas come. This is how things take place. And if devotees start doing all these funny things, then it's just a matter of time. So many deviations will come. Today they'll sing this, tomorrow they'll sing something else, and everything will go on in the name of preaching. Shrutikirti Prabhu, he was quite against even this bridge preaching sort of thing, right? And he was saying, no, you not like this. So that is Prabhupada's mood. Prabhupada was direct, you can see, right from 1966, everything direct. There was no bridge only. You want to say something?
Yeah, like in our temple on cultural program, we invite in outside experts in that particular field for drama, dance, music, all the thing. So this is okay, miss, for cultural program, Janmashtami, for the Jatra, then for anniversary programs, we are giving them platform.
Actually, there are quotes of Srila Prabhupada, you can check in Vedabase, in this Prabhupada Shikshamrit, you can check. But as far as my knowledge goes, Srila Prabhupada allowed some of these things, but not in the temple hall. So previously these cultural programs were being done in the temple hall, right? So that's not very good actually, because not all of them are devotees, isn't it? And they may not be always singing proper devotional songs as per our standards also. So in the temple hall actually that's not allowed. In the temple hall it's not allowed.
That is also change the attention from Lord to the person.
Exactly. So that's not at all good. So I don't know whose idea was that, but it went on for some 2-3 years. It went on, I think.
In Janmashtami we had 3-day celebration. First 1 or 2 they were in it is in
but
temple.
But so last year it was not there, I think. No?
It is there, Prabhuji.
It was there.
Guest house in his temple also.
No, but it was happening, but I am doubtful. Last year I think so they stopped, I think.
Last year it is there, Prabhuji.
It was there?
For first day, 2 days it is there. On main Janmashtami they shifted
Bhaktivedanta. But doing that in the temple hall, I feel is not very appropriate at all. You can check in the Veda base, you will find. Prabhupada says these things are okay. On festival days like this, then some programs like that. Of course, Prabhupada's stand was, it is best that everything is done only by devotees. This was Prabhupada's stand. Drama, singing, whatever, everything only by devotees, with the devotional mood. This was Prabhupada's standard actually. You can check, all this is there. All this is there in Prabhupada's letters and lectures. All this is there. Prabhupada says, it's best everything is done by devotees. But I think so, there is some place where Srila Prabhupada does mention that even if we want on such big festivals like Janmashtami, if we want to call someone also, but it cannot be within the temple hall. It can be somewhere else. So all these things need to be carefully studied and followed. So the problem is that many devotees don't even bother to find out what are the proper standards. Jo man mein aata hai bas, jo mujhe acha lagta hai. So this is not the right way of doing things. So to maintain the sanctity of the parampara, one has to find out all these things. What our acharya wanted, and do things accordingly. That's very important. Not that one just speculates. That is what in that purport we just read. No? One must not increase the speculation. So otherwise we are contaminating our devotional service. This is the contamination of jnana. This is only the contamination of jnana, speculation. So therefore we have to be careful. Whatever we do, if there is doubts, then go to the book, go to the Shastra and check. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, what have they said about this? Go and check and find out. Take the trouble. That is how we maintain the purity. Not that I like something, I will do. No, that is not the way. So fortunately in DT worship and all, now DT ministry has brought out many standards. Otherwise so many funny things were happening. Yes, Prabhu.
Like Shrutakirti Prabhu was telling about during Prabhupada times, on Ekadashi Prabhupada said don't take grains and beans. He said that time it was very simple. But nowadays you say this carrot is not allowed, tomato and also. So this addition is good or not? Now we see so many things this not we follow, but not what Prabhupada standard.
Therefore everything must be understood in the proper perspective. See, regarding austerity, there are minimum standards, correct? There is a minimum standard of austerity, but doing more austerity has no problem. In regards to austerity, what Prabhupada has given is minimum standard. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, okay, minimum 16 rounds. But there are many quotes where Prabhupada said, if one can chant more, very nice. Very nice, you can chant. You can chant throughout the day, no problem. But no compromise with service. So, similarly, austerities like Ekadashi. So, you will find Prabhupada quotes where Prabhupada said, if one can do Nirjal, very nice. But no compromise with service. Not that I'll do Nirjal and go to sleep. Not like that. So, if one can increase the austerity, so as less as possible, as less eating as possible, that is good, no problem. What Prabhupada has given is minimum austerity. So that is as far as austerity is concerned. So therefore everything has to be seen in proper perspective. Therefore one must have a proper understanding of what the Acharya has given. So but these things like kirtan, lectures, then these are standards which cannot be compromised. Because this is not like if you compromise then there is no problem. No, if you compromise then it goes in a wrong zone, deviation, it becomes a deviation. But in the case of austerity it's not like that. If one is able to do more austerity, that's fine.
Chaturmasya and all that, Prabhupada, that time they were following?
Right, so regarding that also you will find Prabhupada quotes where Prabhupada has said the same thing, that if one can follow and at the same time perform one service, no problem. So this was Prabhupada's stand on austerity. Any type of austerity, this was Prabhupada's standard. If one is able to do more austerity, there is no problem. But no compromise on service. That was Prabhupada's standard. But at the same time, for Chaturmasya, Srila Prabhupada didn't allow growing beard, moustache, these funny things he didn't allow. There is a well-known incident, I suppose, 1976. Now, this is 50th anniversary of Hyderabad temple opening. So when Srila Prabhupada went to Hyderabad, just before the opening, maybe a week before the opening, so there were two resident sannyasis there who were doing Chaturmasya. And they were growing their beard and moustache. So Srila Prabhupada, just before the day before the opening, Prabhupada called these two sannyasis, and Srila Prabhupada just said, see, tomorrow is the DT installation, big program, so many guests will be coming, so many people will be coming, and they will see that you are not very clean. What will they say? This is all what Prabhupada said. But they immediately understood. They got the point, they immediately shaved. So that was Srila Prabhupada's stand on these things. So that is what I am saying. So in Srila Prabhupada very mercifully has spoken on practically everything. He has not left anything. Practically everything Srila Prabhupada has spoken, has given instructions. So if there is any doubt about anything, we need to refer, we need to go to the book and find out what Srila Prabhupada has said and act accordingly. This is our business as followers of Srila Prabhupada. That is how we show our love to Srila Prabhupada, by following the instructions that he has given, not doing things whimsically. So, at least those who are studying Bhaktivedanta should know all these things. Bhaktivedanta. You know what Bhaktivedanta Swami wanted? Otherwise, what's the use of doing Bhaktivedanta? Okay, Ajuneshwar, you're okay? Good.
Guruji, now there are ministries of deity and kirtan also. So, what do you think about morning program? Because
that comes under kirtan.
So they are thinking about it. The
What?
kirtan ministry thinks about only the kirtan, I think. So.
No.
Because the
So
way
actually last year the kirtan ministry has brought out a list of standards, and you can find it in the GBC resolutions. You can go to GBC resolutions last year. It is there in the GBC resolutions, and they said they will circulate it to all the temples. The temples should take a printout of that and post it. All that is there in the GBC resolution. Now don't ask who is going to implement it.
No, that I am not asking for. That is Krishna will implement through someone. I don't know who is that. But what I am trying to say is, Kirtan ministry devotee comes here, our Maharaj, what is his name?
Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj.
He comes, but he always speaks about the tunes of Hare Krishna and that is wonderful. But he is not speaking about the rest of the morning program, about the class and the class standard and the...
No, class is not his, that is not his jurisdiction.
That's how I am talking about the entirety of morning program.
No. That his jurisdiction is only kirtan.
But whether kirtan ministry has jurisdiction in Bhagavatam class?
No.
So, because that is something which is the foundation of what Prabhupada wants to say. So,
that
do
is
we have any ministry for that?
That is
or
maybe you'll have to form one.
No, I am thinking from many years, but I am just thinking, is a whimsical thought or what? That's why I am asking you.
I don't know.
Because morning program is not just class, Prabhuji. It's
okay, I think so. We are
Prem Dhwani, so many different types of Prem Dhwani.
Okay.
So many different types of...
I think so. We are going too far from our three modes.
Timings. No, three modes are only acting here. That's why I am asking. And imagine right now it's happening after 20 years there will be so many centers, and what will happen. I had spoken to that time devotee, who is that? He is not there now, that's the problem.
Anyway, no problem. They are thinking about these things, so things will happen, don't worry.
You had shared nice article about that last time, Bhagavatam class.
How to give class.
Such a brilliant document it was.
Correct, yes.
So
it was given to everyone, na?
No, we didn't get
No,
it.
I don't know.
Please share that, Prabhu, it will help us.
Was that?
Please share online.
You have it, na? Arey no, Baba, we shared it with everyone. At least I sent it to Revtipati Prabhu, that much I know. After that, I don't know what happened. At least this much I know, that I sent it to Revtipati Prabhu. And he was supposed to send it to everyone. You got it or no? The title of that was Giving Classes, something like that. I don't remember.
No, online we didn't get
There's a question on chat. Devotees are asking question. We have read Prabhupada allowed Allen Ginsberg to sing Hare Krishna.
Hare Baba, that's in the beginning of the movement.
In 11 ballroom.
That is beginning of the movement that Srila Prabhupada allowed. In the beginning, because that was the starting of the movement, then Prabhupada allowed many things just to encourage people. And with that time, what temple was there in the first place anyways? So that time we see all these people would come, they would bring their own instruments, each one would bring his instrument and they would play. So that was beginning of the movement, there was different thing. After, Shrutikirti Prabhu also told this, na? In the beginning there was no Mangalarti, this, that, nothing was there. Then slowly, gradually Srila Prabhupada introduced the standards. Then at a certain point, Srila Prabhupada was very firm about the standards. Well, sometime like 1970-71, then when things were settling, then Prabhupada introduced standards and then he made things very clear that this should be like this should be like this, this should be like this. So you cannot compare to the initial part of the movement, when the movement was just starting. Okay, let's proceed with the three modes. But all these speculations essentially take place due to influence of the mode of passion. This Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita. The symptom of the mode of passion is speculation. So all these speculative philosophies are a result of Rajagun, because in Rajagun the mind moving very fast, Rajagun. So then so many speculative philosophies, theories, everything comes up. So all this is because of Rajagun, all these speculations. So therefore Srila Prabhupada would say, no, the Western disease is to change. So more Rajagun. Westernization means more Rajagun, then more changes.
Okay, but now what you said about this beard, no, everybody is having beard. They're getting married also, keeping beard and all, Prabhuji. Everything like this deviation has started so badly, Prabhuji. I can
Right.
just see it.
Yes. So that is why we are discussing this here. So that all those who are doing Bhaktivedanta, they instruct everyone else to stop all this nonsense. So all of you are big preachers. So all of you should instruct others to stop all this nonsense. That is why we are discussing all this. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point in knowing things and not distributing? So Prabhupada says if one knows things and does not distribute, he is called as Jnana Khala.
Also, the worst part is senior devotees ke bacche, they are getting married with beards.
Correct. So this is all modernization. So this is what is the problem. People want to change. That's the problem. Any case, okay, let's. I know, I heard that.
Last, when he was so sick, he was not able to walk. Still, he asked him to shave.
Correct. The governor had come.
Yeah.
The governor of UP had come.
Yes, exactly.
Correct.
We understand Prabhupada wanted it to keep us clean and there is sampradaya, but what is other significance of it?
What's that?
Other significance of it?
No, the only significance is cleanliness. And cleanliness is godliness. And the most important thing is following the instruction of the Acharya. That is the most important. You want to please the Acharya, you have to follow his instruction, as simple as that. ठीक है.
Purificatory rituals should be performed to purify the spirit soul and not to bring down material blessings on one's material household. One who increases the mode of...
What you read?
Purificatory rituals should be performed to purify the spirit soul and not to bring down material blessings on the material household.
Right, so this is sanskaras. Okay, so whatever sanskaras are required should be done. Okay, and?
One who...
That is the last one, no? Sanskaras?
Yes. Should I read?
What is?
One who increases the mode of goodness will certainly become fixed in religious principles and automatically knowledge will rise. As knowledge increases, one is able to understand the eternal spirit soul and supreme soul, Lord Krishna. Thus the soul becomes free from artificial imposition of the gross and subtle material bodies caused by the modes of material nature. Spiritual knowledge burns to ashes the material designations that cover the living entity and one's real eternal life begins.
So therefore one should make appropriate choices. Thank you. So, in this next verse, you can read the translation next verse, 7th verse.
In a bamboo forest, the wind sometimes rubs the bamboo stalks together, and such friction generates a blazing fire that consumes the very source of its birth, the bamboo forest. Thus, the fire is automatically calmed by its own action. Similarly, by the competition and interaction of the material modes of nature, subtle and gross material bodies are generated. If one uses his mind and body to cultivate knowledge, then such enlightenment destroys the influence of modes of nature that generated one's body. Thus, like the fire, the body and mind are pacified by their own actions in destroying the source of their birth.
So one uses the mind and body to cultivate knowledge. So one comes to sattva, and then the influence of rajas and tamas will be destroyed. Okay, let's read this purport. The word guna vyatyaya ja is significant in this verse. Vyatyaya indicates change or inversion in the normal order of things. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has described the concept of vyatyaya by giving the Sanskrit synonym vaishamya, which indicates inequality or disproportionate diversity. Thus it is understood by the term guna vyatyaya ja that the body is generated by the unstable relationships of the three modes of material nature, which exist everywhere in constantly changing proportions. There is a constant strife, competition among the modes of nature. A good person is sometimes torn by passion. Passionate person sometimes wants to give up everything and rest. An ignorant person may sometimes become disgusted with his depraved life, and a passionate person may sometimes indulge in bad habits in the mode of ignorance. Due to the interactive conflict of the modes of nature, one wanders throughout material nature, creating one body after another by one's own work karma. As it is said, variety is the mother of enjoyment, and the variety of material modes gives hope to the conditioned souls that by changing their material situation, their unhappiness and frustration can be turned into happiness and satisfaction. But even if one acquires relative material happiness, that will soon be disturbed by the inevitable flux of the material modes. Right? So this is what happens under the influence of lower modes. One always thinks of change. That is what we were discussing. So why one wants change? Because one thinks by bringing about that change, one will get happiness and satisfaction. So that is the whole idea why so many changes take place. So therefore these days we find so many varieties of mobiles, so many varieties of cars and all this. Why? Because a person thinks if I change something, then I'll become happy. So that is under the influence of the lower modes. But then it does not last. It does not last. So change can bring about some satisfaction for some time, but then again because of the influence of the lower modes, there will be dissatisfaction. Okay, so this is what he is speaking about the three modes in this chapter. So then Uddhava is asking a question, and then again the Lord is replying. So here also there is a lot of discussion about the modes. But you have covered all this, no? Always good to revise. So if you go to the 12th verse, that same chapter. Although the intelligence of a learned person may be bewildered by the modes of passion and ignorance, he should again carefully bring the mind under control. By clearly seeing the contamination of the modes of nature, he does not become attached. So although the modes of passion and ignorance may influence a person, but again he should bring the mind under control, seeing the contamination. Mind should be completely absent. Okay, fine. Let us go back to the 25th chapter, correct? कहाँ पर है मेरा? Which verse were we on? ये क्या चल रहा है? Or should we take a break now? Okay, we'll take a break and then continue at 12:30. How many verses we finished? 25th chapter? 22. Okay. Not many. ठीक है, हरे कृष्ण. is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Work performed with a desire to enjoy the results is in the mode of passion, and work impelled by violence and envy is in the mode of ignorance. So, we already discussed this. So, at least we have to do in the mode of goodness, that is nishphalam, without expectation of the result. And of course, done for the pleasure of the Lord, that's best. Okay, 24. Kevalyam satvikam jnanam rajo vaikalpikam chayat prakritam tamasam jnanam manishtham nirgunam smritam. Okay.
Absolute knowledge is in mode of goodness. Knowledge based on duality is in mode of passion. And foolish materialistic knowledge is in the mode of ignorance. Knowledge based upon me, however, is understood to be transcendental.
Okay, you can read this purport.
The Lord clearly explains Hare Krishna. The Lord clearly explains here that spiritual knowledge of His Supreme Personality is transcendental to ordinary religious knowledge in the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one understands the existence of a higher spiritual nature within all things. In the mode of passion, one acquires scientific knowledge of the material body. And in the mode of ignorance, one fixes one's mind on the sense objects without higher awareness, perceiving things as a small child or a retarded person does. Sri Jiva Goswami elaborately explains in his commentary on this verse that the material mode of goodness does not award perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. He quotes Srimad Bhagavatam 6:14-2, proving that many great demigods in the mode of goodness and could not understand the transcendental personality of Lord Krishna. In the material mode of goodness, one becomes pious or religious, aware of a higher spiritual nature. On the spiritual platform of purified goodness, however, one establishes a direct loving relationship with the absolute truth, rendering service to the Lord rather than merely maintaining a connection to mundane piety. In the mode of passion, the conditioned soul speculates about the reality of his own existence and of the world around him, and considers speculatively the existence of a kingdom of God. In the mode of ignorance, one acquires knowledge for sense gratification, absorbing the mind in varieties of eating, sleeping, defending and sex, without any higher purpose. Thus, within the modes of nature, the conditioned souls are trained to gratify their senses, or else they are trained to free themselves from sense gratification, but they cannot directly engage themselves in their constitutional liberated activities until they come to the transcendental position of Krishna consciousness beyond the modes of nature.
So this is knowledge in the three modes. So all these things are there in the Bhagavad Gita also. So knowledge of difference between spirit and matter, that's in goodness. Mode of passion is all speculative theories, that is mode of passion. And mode of ignorance is pertaining to the body, sense gratification. So therefore Srila Prabhupada would often say that modern education is all in ignorance, Shudras. So all this technology is Shudra's work. So because it is ultimately meant for simply satisfying the body, maintaining the body. So ultimately that's all Shudra's activity. Okay, 25. Vanam tu satviko vaso gramo rajasa uchyate tamasam dyuta sadanam manniketam tu nirgunam.
Residence in the forest is in mode of goodness. Residence in a town is in mode of passion. Residence in a gambling house displays the quality of ignorance. and residence in a place where I reside is transcendental.
Okay, fine. This we already know. And okay, 26. Satvika karako sangi ragandho rajasa smrita tamasa smriti vibhrashto nirguno madapashrayah.
A worker free of attachment is mode of goodness. A worker blinded by personal desire is mode of passion. And a worker who has completely forgotten how to tell right from wrong is a mode of ignorance. But a worker who has taken shelter of me is understood to be transcendental to mode of nature.
Okay, so this is worker in the three modes. Again, all this is already covered in Bhagavad Gita. So, Karaka. So, if is Asangi, then it is Sattva. No attachment to the fruits. But Raga Andha. So, if one is blinded by personal attachments, then it is Rajasa. And Tamasa is, he doesn't know what is right, what is wrong. In the Bhagavad Gita, there I think so Krishna tells that in ignorance one considers adharma to be dharma and dharma to be adharma. Okay, 27. Satviki adhyatmiki shraddha karma shraddha tu rajasi tamasi adharme ya shraddha matsevayam tu nirguna. Somebody is reading?
25.
27.
27. Yes, sorry. Faith directed towards spiritual life is in the mode of goodness. Faith rooted in fruitive work is in the mode of passion. Faith residing in irreligious activities is in the mode of ignorance. But faith in my devotional service is purely transcendental.
Okay, so this is faith in three modes. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. Same thing. Okay, 28. Patyam putam anayastam aharyam satvikam smritam Rajasam chendriya preshtam tamasam chartida shuchi.
Food that is wholesome, pure and obtained without difficulty is in the mode of goodness. Food that gives immediate pleasure to the senses in the mode of passion. And food that is unclean and causes distress is in the mode of ignorance.
Okay, so again everything in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna gives more details actually. 29. Satvikam sukam atmottam vishayottam tu rajasam tamasam moha dainyottam nirgunam madapashrayam.
Happiness derived from the self is in the mode of goodness. Happiness based on sense gratification is in the mode of passion. And happiness based on delusion and degradation is in the mode of ignorance. But that happiness found within me is transcendental.
So there in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about this happiness. There what he says? In Rajagun, it is like, yes, nectar in the beginning. That is there.
So, but before that there is one line which generally is not discussed, that is Abhyasat Ramate Yatra. And Dukkha goes away by that.
What is
that is the previous verse, that by practice one relishes something. Do it as it is. This is just one verse before that. I will tell you three kinds of happiness, and then next line only begins goodness. This is what number?
18th chapter. 18th chapter something, it will be like between 30 to 40.
30 to 40. Dharma.
36.
36. Sukham tu idanim trividham shunu me bharatarshava abhyasat ramate yatra dukhantam cha nigacchati. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, by which he sometimes comes to end of all distress. So this is how it is translated, and then it becomes yat tadagre vishamiva. So what I remember studying is that the second line is of mode of goodness only. It may apply to all three also, it seems, the way Prabhupada has translated. Abhyasat ramate yatra dukkha antam cha nigacchati.
Go to the word to word.
By practice one enjoys.
Okay, by practice one enjoys. Abhyasat ramate yatra dukkha antam. So then the dukkha will come to an end by practice. So that means basically by practice one can come to goodness, no? That is the point. So that is what
it appears that he is saying for all three.
Now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. Okay.
But, and of course next verse onwards we say generally that
three types of
that which is poison at the beginning, nectar in the end. That is surely there.
Here important point he says, in other words, conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification, but when we understands by good association, so that is how one should understand, by good association.
It is only repetition.
It's a repetition of the same thing. Puna punasharvita charvananam. He is awakened to his real Krishna consciousness. He is sometimes relieved from some such repetitive so-called happiness. Okay, fine. So let's proceed. 30th verse.
Actually, Chakravarti Thakur is saying that sattvic happiness is described in 1.5 verse. So the half portion and the next verse is sattvic happiness.
Okay.
And in sattvic happiness, abhyasat ramate yatra. But I don't know, passion happiness he doesn't enjoy in the abhyas. He wants to change the things.
Correct.
So that's how it is. Only by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is translating like this.
That is there. Therefore, there is determination in three modes is also there.
Determination is there.
So even in the mode of passion, one is determined to enjoy sense gratification. That's why he works so hard, na? So determination is there everywhere. But by abhyas, then one can change.
Here he is writing, bro, very clearly. Now sattvic happiness is described in 1.5 verses. Only by constant practice, abhyasat, does such a person enjoy. This means that it is not like happiness derived from sense objects, which gives pleasure just on contact. It's a practice. Enjoying in that happiness, the person crosses over the suffering of samsara, dukkham nigacchati. In the beginning, sattvic happiness is like poison, since restraining the senses and mind causes suffering. So,
correct.
Into practice.
That's true. By practice, one can come to goodness. Okay, 30th verse. Dravyam desha phalam kalo jnanam karma chakaraka shraddha vasta kritir nishtha traigunya sarva evahi.
Therefore, material substance, place, result of activity, time, knowledge, work, the performer of work, faith, state of consciousness, species of life, and destination after death are all based on the three modes of material nature.
Okay, so this is basically he is summarizing what all he has spoken. He is summarizing over here. 31. Sarve gunamaya bhava purusha vyakta dishtitaha drishtam shrutam anudhyatam buddhya va purusharshava.
O best of human beings, all states of material being are related to the interaction of the enjoying soul and material nature. Whether seen, heard of, or only conceived within the mind, they are without exception constituted of the modes of nature.
Okay, so ultimately everything in the material world is influenced by three modes. Okay, 32. Etasam srutaya pumso guna karma nibandanaha yenema nirjita saumya guna jivena chittaja bhakti yogena mannishtho madbhavaya prapadyate.
O gentle Uddhava, all these different phases of conditioned life arise from work born of the modes of material nature. The living entity who conquers these modes, manifested from the mind, can dedicate himself to me by the process of devotional service and thus attain pure love for me.
The living entity who conquers these modes, manifested from the mind. So basically the modes influence the mind. We have discussed that. Chittaja. Chitta. Basically the contempt. So that is where the modes act, on the chitta. So if one conquers them, these modes, then one can come to the practice of pure devotional service. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what? Mamchi avicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samadityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Purport. The words mad bhavaya prapadyate indicate the attainment of love for God or of the same state of existence as that of the Supreme Lord. Actual liberation is residence within the eternal kingdom of God, where life is full of bliss and knowledge. The conditioned soul falsely imagines himself to be the enjoyer of the modes of nature, and thus a particular type of material work is generated, the reaction of which binds the conditioned soul to repeat birth and death. This fruitless process can be counteracted by loving service to the Lord as described here. Now Vishwanath Thakur in the commentary on this verse, he says, Srila Swami, how he says that, okay, these are the causes of samsara, samsritaya, for the jiva. Knowledge and other items are causes of samsara. No. Okay. Srila Swami, however, says that samsritaya means that the items are caused by samsara. These gunas are conquered by means of bhakti yoga performed by the jiva. That person dedicated to me, mat nishtha, who is beyond the gunas, surrenders to me for attaining sarupya or for attaining dasya, sakya and other bhavas for me. Mad bhava. It has already been said that the devotee is beyond the gunas and attains the Lord. Yanti mam eva nirguna. The devotees beyond the gunas attain me. Nirguno mad apashraya. A performer of action who has taken shelter of me alone is beyond the gunas. So then he is quoting 3:29:12. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hi udharitam ahaituki avyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. It is said that the quality of bhakti beyond the gunas is that it is devoid of other results other than bhakti and is unobstructed by other process. By this statement and the present verse, which states that by bhakti one conquers the gunas, it is understood that bhakti is beyond the gunas. The ingredients used in deity worship in bhakti, such as incense, flowers, fragrance, lamp, umbrella and chamar, are all beyond the gunas. It has also been stated that the faith of the devotees is beyond the gunas. It is understood from the law that anything related to bhakti is beyond the gunas. Okay, anything related to bhakti is beyond the gunas. Yes, till the time one is not purified, then one can be influenced by the gunas. Okay, next verse. Tasma deham ivam labdhva jnana vijnana sambhavam guna sangam vinirdhuya mam bhajantu vichakshanaha.
Therefore, Having achieved this human form of life, which allows one to develop full knowledge, those who are intelligent should free themselves from all contamination of the modes of nature and engage exclusively in loving service to me.
Yes. So those who have this human form of life and those who are intelligent, vichakshana, persons who are intelligent, then they should perform devotional service. Bhajantu, mam bhajantu. Then one can become free from the contamination of the three modes. 34. Nisango mam bhajed vidvan apramatto jitendriyaha rajastamas chabi jayet sattvas samsevayamuni.
A wise sage, free from all material association and unbewildered, should subdue his senses and worship me. He should conquer the modes of passion and ignorance by engaging himself only with things in the mode of goodness.
Yes. So one should be careful to engage only with things in the mode of goodness. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments, he says the Lord teaches the method of pure worship. One should be devoid of jnana and karma, nisanga. Faith in service to you is beyond the gunas. Faith in Atma is in Sattva Guna. Faith in prescribed karmas is in Rajas. Faith in Adharma is in Tamas. Happiness arising from Bhakti to you is beyond the gunas. Happiness arising from Atma, sense objects and illusion is in Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. All these things are either in the gunas or without gunas. What should a person who worships you do in the beginning? This verse answers. It has been said that if he is endowed with bhakti alone, then he will conquer the three gunas by bhakti alone. This was already stated in verse 32. If he has a predominance of bhakti with some mixture of other elements such as jnana, then there is another method for conquering the three gunas. That is stated in this verse. He engages in sattva to conquer rajas and tamas. It has been previously stated. Satvikani eva sevate sevata puman sattva vivridhaye stato dharmas stato jnana yavat smriti rapon. Until one realizes Atma and destroys the gunas and the gross and subtle bodies, one must use sattvic items to increase sattva, which increase dharma and then gives rise to jnana. Okay, so basically one should use sattvic items. So therefore, all those 10 items are there and so many other things. Then one should choose those things which are in sattva. Okay, 35. Sattvam cha bijayet yukto nairapekshena shantadi sampadyate gunair mukto jivo jivam vihayamam.
Then, being fixed in devotional service, the sage should also conquer the material mode of goodness by indifference toward the modes. Thus pacified within his mind, the spirit soul, freed from the modes of nature, gives up the very cause of his conditioned life and attains me.
Okay, so then one should even give up the sattva. So one should transcend even the sattva and come to Shuddha sattva. So one cannot be satisfied simply being on the platform of sattva. And 36. Jivo jiva vinirmukto gunes chashaya sambhave mayeva brahmana purno na bahir nantarascharet.
Freed from the subtle conditioning of the mind and from the modes of nature born of material consciousness, the living entity becomes completely satisfied by experiencing my transcendental form. He no longer searches for enjoyment in the external energy, nor does he contemplate or remember such enjoyment within himself.
Yes. So in this way, one becomes totally free from the influence of the modes, and then one is no longer influenced by the external energy, and therefore he does not contemplate on any type of enjoyment. So this is how one should get free from the influence of the modes. Now, we see that even though this is our goal to become free from the influence of the modes, as we were discussing yesterday also, that Krishna is saying in the 18th chapter, 40th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, what is saying? 40. So there Krishna says that there is no being in this entire material creation, including Swarga, there is no one who is free from the influence of the modes. Why? Because as long as there is material body, there is going to be some influence of modes. Because material body means material elements, and as long as material elements are there, material modes are going to be there. So therefore one cannot avoid influence of the modes as long as one is in the material world.
Jivan Mukta means what?
We're coming to that. So therefore the important point is, as long as one has the material body, one always has to be very careful. So now we will see 3 examples of personalities who were in one sense definitely free from the influence of the modes. They were definitely Jivan Mukta. On the liberated platform, they had darshan of the Supreme Lord, but still they got influenced by the modes. What are these 3 examples? Yes, one is Dhruva Maharaj, Chitraketu Maharaj, well, he was not free from the influence of... Okay, he got the darshan of Lord Shankarshan. So, in that sense, yes, we can say example of Chitraketu Maharaj also. And Purva also got darshan of the Lord, but we don't know whether exactly he was on the liberated platform or... Just darshan doesn't mean one is on the liberated platform. See that? Parikshit Maharaj, okay, we are talking about examples. Of course, Parikshit Maharaj, there is no example of him being bewildered, no? So that is totally Lord's plan, that putting the snake, that is Lord's plan. No. Okay. So we will go one by one and we will discuss, okay. So we will start with Dhruva Maharaj. So we know the pastime, Dhruva Maharaj, and so then he goes to avenge the death of his brother by attacking the Yakshas. But then as he is performing his duty, correct, as a king, because there was this Yaksha who killed his brother, so therefore he is trying to get justice as a Kshatriya, as a king. But in the course of doing that, what happens? Yes, Atiroshena. He becomes influenced by the lower modes. So, we would like to definitely study those purports of Srila Prabhupada in that pastime, because that's what is important for us. So this is 4th canto, 10th chapter. Okay, 10th chapter is mostly fight only. Okay, we'll go to the 11th chapter. Okay, so the 7th verse, we find, okay, Lord Manu said, "My dear son, please stop. It's not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life." So here it's alam vatsatiroshena, atiroshena. This is tamadvarena, the path of ignorance. Now you are going beyond the limit of by killing yakshas who are actually not offenders. So here Srila Prabhupada is writing, okay, here there is not so much. Here Prabhupada is writing, Kshatriya is allowed to kill only for maintenance of law and order of the state. He is not allowed to kill or commit violence without reason. Violence is certainly a path leading to a hellish condition of life, but it's also required for maintenance of the law and order of the state. Here Lord Manu prohibited Dhruva Maharaj from killing the yakshas because only one of them was punishable for killing his brother Uttama. Not all the yaksha citizens were punishable. Okay, so this is what he's saying over here. And then in the next verse he says that yes, this is not approved by authorities and does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion. So just wait. And then in the 10th verse he says, one should not accept the body as the self, and thus like the animals kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now here Prabhupada writes, Dhruva Maharaj is advised here by Lord Manu that he is a pure servitor of the Lord. Why should he unnecessarily engage like the animals in the bodily concept of life? An animal thinks that the body of another animal is his food. Therefore, in the bodily concept of life, one animal attacks another. Human being, especially one who is a devotee of the Lord, should not act like this. A sadhu or saintly devotee is not supposed to kill animals unnecessarily. Okay. And then he says it's very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Okay, now here in the purport Prabhupada is writing, Dhruva Maharaj as a Kshatriya could have argued with his grandfather Manu when Manu requested him to stop fighting. But even though Dhruva could have argued that as a Kshatriya it was his duty to fight with the enemy, he was informed that since every living entity is a residence of the Supreme Lord and can be considered a temple of the Lord, the unnecessary killing of any living entity is not permitted. Okay. Next, because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised why you have undertaken such an abominable task. So as a pure devotee, he was not supposed to do this. As Prabhupada writes in the purport, so Dhruva Maharaj was a pure devotee, accustomed to always thinking of the Lord. As a pure devotee does not know anything beyond the Lord, so the Lord does not know anything beyond his pure devotee. And then he is talking about the qualities of the pure devotee. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality. Prabhupada talks about 3 stages of the devotees. Next verse he says, one who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of God during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions, thus being free from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Okay, so then he is speaking some other philosophy. So now in the So basically then Manu is describing that how it is simply by the illusory material energy of the Supreme Personality of God, by interaction of three modes of material nature, that creation, maintenance and annihilation takes place. So he is saying that all this is taking place by the influence of the gunas, and so therefore you must not unnecessarily kill. I am looking for this purport, I am not able to. Okay, go to the 27th verse. So Swayambhu Manu is telling Dhruva, my dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Everyone, including the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control, just as a bull prompted by a rope in its nose is controlled by its owner. This analogy is given in so many places. Purport. The material disease is to declare independence from the Supreme Controller. Factually, our material existence begins when we forget the Supreme Controller and wish to lord it over material nature. Everyone in the material world is trying his best to become the Supreme Controller, individually, nationally, socially, and many other ways. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to stop fighting by his grandfather, who was concerned that Dhruva was adhering to a personal ambition to fight, to annihilate the whole race of Yakshas. So this Swayambhu Manu is saying this is his personal ambition. So in this verse, therefore, Swayambhu Manu seeks to eradicate the last tinge of false ambition in Dhruva by explaining the position of the Supreme Controller. So the last tinge of false ambition, he had this. So the words Mrityum Amritam, death and immortality are significant. Okay, I am ultimate death. So further down again Prabhupada says, Dhruva Maharaj was advised to surrender unto him in all respects without keeping any personal ambition. Okay. Now the next verse he says, my dear Dhruva, at the age of only 5 years, you were very grievously afflicted by the words of your mother's co-wife, and you very boldly gave up the protection of your mother and went to the forest to engage in the yogic process for realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a result of this, you have already achieved the topmost position in all the three worlds. So Prabhupada says Manu was very proud that Dhruva Maharaj was one of the descendants in his family, because at the age of only 5 years, Dhruva Maharaj began meditating on the Supreme Personality of God. Within 6 months, he was able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. And the last sentence he says, because Dhruva Maharaj had already surrendered to the Supreme Godhead, he was especially requested not to do anything unbefitting a surrendered soul. My dear Dhruva, please therefore turn your attention to the Supreme Person, who is the infallible Brahman. Face the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your original position, and thus by self-realization you will find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. So here again Prabhupada is writing that so the living entities have three kinds of vision according to their position and self-realization, Brahman, Paramatma. According to the bodily concept of life, one sees differentiation in terms of varieties of bodies. The living entity actually passes through many varieties of material forms, but despite all such changes of body, he is eternal. When living entities therefore are viewed in the bodily concept of life, one appears to be different from another. Lord Manu wanted to change the vision of Dhruva Maharaj, who was looking upon the Yakshas as different from him or as his enemies. So that means that's a bodily concept, therefore he is thinking this is friend, this is enemy. Factually, no one is an enemy or friend. Everyone is passing through different types of bodies under the law of karma. But as soon as one is situated in a spiritual identity, he does not see differentiation in terms of this law. So, further down, Dhruva Maharaj was advised by Lord Manu to see with that vision. He was specifically advised to do so because he was a great devotee and should not have looked upon other living entities with ordinary vision. Indirectly, Manu pointed out to Dhruva Maharaj that out of material affection, Dhruva thought of his brother as his kin and the Yakshas as his enemy. That means what? Even at this stage, Dhruva Maharaj is affected by a bodily conception. So bodily conception is due to what? Lower modes, na? That is influence of lower modes, Rajas and Tamas. That is why this bodily misconception. So definitely he was influenced by the lower modes. Even at this stage he was influenced by the lower modes. Such observation of differentiation subsides as soon as one is situated in his original position as an eternal servant of the Lord. Thus, regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure and who lives in all living entities as the super soul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and mine. Okay, now Prabhupada is writing here. Dhruva Maharaj was already a liberated person. You see this? Dhruva Maharaj was already a liberated person. Because at the age of 5 years, he had seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even though liberated, he was for the time being afflicted by the illusion of Maya, thinking himself the brother of Uttama in the bodily concept of life. The whole material world is working on the basis of I and mine. This is the root of attraction to the material world. If Haribol, I think so you have to gone to some other loka. Maybe you're observing the pastime, huh? Visualize. The whole material world is working on the basis of I and mine. This is the root of attraction to the material world. If one is attracted by this root of illusory conceptions, I and mine, he will have to remain within this material world in different exalted or nasty positions. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the sages and Lord Manu reminded Dhruva Maharaj that he should not continue this material conception of I and mine. Simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. So the point is, he was on the liberated platform, but still, for the time being, he became influenced by the illusion of Maya. That is the point we had discussed. That is the power of the illusory energy Maya. As long as one has the material body, even though one may be on the liberated platform, one could be influenced by mind. And that is why yesterday, okay, we'll read one more verse here, then we'll go there. My dear king, just consider what I have said to you, which will act as medicinal treatment upon disease. Control, the next verse here. This is 31. Control your anger, for anger is the foremost enemy on the path of spiritual realization. I wish all good fortune for you. Please follow my instructions. Here again Prabhupada writes, Dhruva Maharaj was a liberated soul. And actually he was not angry with anyone. But because he was the ruler, it was his duty to become angry for some time. Okay, it was his duty to become angry for some time in order to keep law and order in the state. His brother Uttama was without fault, yet he was killed by one of the yakshas. It was the duty of Dhruva Maharaj to kill the offender life for life, because Dhruva was the king. When the challenge came, Dhruva Maharaj fought vehemently and punished the yakshas sufficiently. But, now this is the important point, but anger is such that if one increases it, it increases unlimitedly. So that is how when one, so anger means mode of passion and ignorance. So when one comes in contact with the lower modes, one is going into a risky position. So even though he was getting angry to perform his duty, but anger means lower modes. And then the influence of lower modes went ahead without limit. So if one allows the lower modes to attack, then one is in a risky position. Therefore one should be very careful not to be influenced by the lower modes. You can see, even though Dhruva Maharaj, so you can see in two purports Prabhupada is repeating the point, Dhruva Maharaj was a liberated soul. But even though he was a liberated soul, still he got influenced by the lower modes. So that is the lesson for us to learn, is how one should always be very alert and careful. If one allows oneself to be influenced by lower modes, then they will simply push the person beyond limit. So anger is such that if one increases it, increases unlimitedly. In order that Dhruva Maharaj's kingly anger not exceed the limit, Manu was kind enough to check his grandson. Dhruva Maharaj could understand the purpose of his grandfather and immediately stopped the fighting. The word Shrutena Bhuyasa, by constantly hearing, are very important in this verse. By constantly hearing about devotional service, one can check the force of anger, which is detrimental to the process of devotional service. Srila Parikshit Maharaj said that the constant hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is the panacea for all material diseases. Everyone therefore should hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. By hearing, one can always remain in equilibrium, and thus his progress in spiritual life will not be hampered. And then here Prabhupada is giving the story of Narad Muni and the snake. So finally Narad Muni told that snake, don't bite, but do not forget to expand your hood, as if you were going to bite. Then they will go away. Similarly, a devotee is always non-violent. He is qualified with all good characteristics. But in the common world, when there is mischief made by others, he should not forget to become angry, at least for the time being, in order to drive away the miscreants. But the next verse, Swami Prabhupada was saying, a person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger. So there Narad Muni's story is what? That is controlled anger. That is controlled anger. So one should not allow anger to control one. One can control anger and use it, but one should not allow anger to control. So that's what Swayambhuvan was saying. Should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. Prabhupada is an example of Jesus Christ. Okay, and then he's saying how it has been offensive to Lord Shiva. Yes, Prabhu. So the lesson to learn is how one should always be very careful. As long as material body is there, influence of modes is going to be there. So one has to be careful. Yes, Prabhu.
Like this controlled anger, as it is said. So, but we see in the society, even if a sadhu shows controlled anger, that is also not appreciated. So some devotees I have seen, they say that a sadhu means he should not become angry at all. So there were, like I know some many sannyasis in ISKCON, somebody saying like that. But we see Prabhupada or others showing controlled anger. But that's true in society. Even if we show controlled anger, they don't appreciate this. Sadhu, when you are becoming angry. And control anger, of course, out of question, but even control anger they don't appreciate. So what is the conclusion?
So that is what Prabhupada is giving, the story of Narad Muni and the snake.
Yeah, that's control anger.
Yes, for the time being.
But people don't appreciate that.
Again the same point, we are not here to satisfy people. We are here to satisfy Krishna. We are not after, as Prabhupada would say, vox populi. Vox populi, popular vote. So we are not that, okay, people should say, nice, sadhu. So we are not after that popular vote, popularity. We are not after popularity. We are after pleasing Krishna. So if showing some anger is required to please Krishna, then we do it. Just like Hanuman, what he did? He burnt the whole of Lanka. Now that is disastrous, isn't it? Big disaster. Then what will people say about that? So therefore, we don't want to be like mundane moralists. So that was the problem with Yudhishthira Maharaj, we know that. He didn't want to tell lies. So regarding violence also, Srila Prabhupada says, people say, initially Arjuna was a nice person, but this Krishna, he provoked him to fight. So people will say so many things, who cares? We have to do our business. So therefore, we are not interested in pleasing the people. So here Prabhupada is giving us some instructions how to act.
Like we see some devotees, like we see Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, never he would become angry or like that.
Anyway,
So
I don't know about this statement, but we do hear that when he was temple president of Vrindavan, there were incidents where he showed anger. If you want, you go and ask Vrindavan devotees. There were some incidents where he showed anger, he took heavy steps, and some of the devotees were surprised, we didn't expect this from Bhakti Swami Prabhupada. But he did. So he knows what to do when.
Hear something like this person was with no angry, but actually when they interact, like sometimes even many people may say about Radhanath Maharaj also, but when Gaurang Prabhu interacts with Maharaj, then Maharaj is a great taskmaster.
Correct.
So Maharaj also becomes angry if somebody is not, but his anger is like inside only, and then people fear.
So controlled anger. Control. So therefore a Vaishnava knows what to do when, because he knows what is for the pleasure of the Lord. That. ठीक है?
Prabhuji, and Srila Prabhupada writes in 4 Kumaras section that it's
correct.
imaginary that we should not think that saintly person should not become angry.
Yes, Prabhupada writes that.
Yeah, very clearly he writes.
Correct.
That anger, because anger itself is not wrong. Why one is another
but
thing.
as we are reading in this pastime, one should not become controlled by anger. One should control the anger and use it. Because if one allows to become controlled by anger, then this case of Dhruva Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisance, Prabhuji.
Humble.
Nice discussion is going on here. The Sri Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu asked the
Hey, this is
question-
Madhav? Madhav said, Prabhu, after so many days.
Prabhuji, actually I am having a severe backache actually. So I am taking a treatment. Too much back pain.
Okay.
So Prabhuji, this discussion is nice that here the specific question is of sadhu. When you are talking about Hanuman, Hanuman was not a ruling of sadhu actually. He was a Kshatriya. Arjun was a Kshatriya. When he is asking, like Prabhupada also, I have never seen showing anger in public. He may show the anger. And his method of showing
Now
anger
you read Prabhupada pastimes. You read Prabhupada
I have read.
pastimes. I can say one immediate. We can give you a list actually, but one immediate this that comes into mind is the Amsterdam temple opening. You may remember that Amsterdam temple opening. There were newspaper reporters and TV reporters. Everything was on camera, and Prabhupada was showing anger like Narasimhadev.
Prabhuji, the reason is justified by the people, no? Because they are creating chaos there. He is becoming angry for the cause of Lord's temple. They are not opening. Anybody can understand that Guru can chastise his disciple, but not.
So that is the point, na? So that is the point. So he became.
Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu. Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu asked question is a different context. I am not saying that a disciple, a Guru can always become heavy on the disciple. But I think his question is on when you are talking to public, interacting with the public, that public opinion. It is not question of that what public is saying. Here he has to chastise because they are not.
No, but then public is watching, na?
But public knows that he is a guru and these people have not done the job. He is doing right thing.
Okay, so that applies always, na? Then at other times also, then people should understand. Okay, this is sadhu. He is becoming angry for some purpose. Then if you justify like that.
No, but Prabhuji, what happened once upon the Prabhupada disciples, they went to Singapore and they spoke such a heavy. After that, you cannot go to Singapore in saffron. Nobody can go.
No, see, now you are talking something different. Now you are talking about preaching style. This is totally different. One should know how to preach. That is different.
Prabhupada said, you cannot do what I did.
That is correct.
What I did.
Yes, we can't imitate Prabhupada.
He
that
said,
is
I'm an old man, I can become family people will not
correct.
say anything. I'm an old man.
Correct. So, that point is correct.
So
we can't.
Thinking that we have to use the presence of mind, where to use anger, where not to use anger. That we have to be always conscious.
That is needless to say.
I am correct, na?
That point is absolutely correct. So that is what we are discussing. We cannot become unnecessarily angry. We have to use controlled anger. So if there is a situation where somebody is trying to exploit us, then we have to show some controlled anger. Otherwise the person will unnecessarily exploit. That is the story of Narad Muni and the snake.
Once in a flight, Prabhupada was flying with His Grace Brahmanand Prabhu. And there was one person was smoking. So Brahmanand Prabhu said, stop smoking. It is not allowed. Then again he did 3 times, and 3rd time he was supposed to go and physically do something. Prabhupada said, stop it. His senses are not controlled. Why you are bothering too much? Your senses are controlled. Keep quiet. You might be knowing this pastime, right?
I heard it.
So here Prabhupada did not allow him to become angry because this was not appropriate anger.
Okay, fine. So your point is well taken. One should be cautious to use anger. That point is well taken. Yes, that is correct. One should not unnecessarily become angry. That is correct. Okay, but
because the saffron cloth and the Kshatriya cloth have different. Arjuna has to become angry because he is a Kshatriya. He has a sword.
Correct.
He is a Kshatriya. He has Gada. Correct.
Your point is correct that we should be careful while using anger in Krishna service.
Especially wearing the saffron. Saffron is
Parshuram was in saffron. Parshuram was in saffron.
Hey, now don't bring in the Lord's avatar now.
अरे भाई वो परशुराम क्षत्रिय है और वो किसको मारे? तुम क्षत्रिय हो क्या?
Okay, okay.
Parshuram was a Brahmana. He became Kshatriya on the need of time.
Okay, Madhav Seva Prabhu, now you don't become angry.
No, no, no. I am not becoming angry. Thank you.
Okay, but anyways, our point of discussion was something else. Our point of discussion is how, as long as the material body is there, one should always be careful, because the influence of the modes can take place at any time. So therefore one should be careful, even though one is on the liberated platform. Even though one is on the liberated platform, one should always be careful, because at any time the influence of the modes can come. So this is one example that we see. And another example is that of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj also, he was on the platform Bhava, liberated platform, but then again became attached to the deer. So the risk is there. No, see, there is a purpose. Yes, so see, when those great souls become angry, there is a purpose behind it. There is no doubt about that. But the possibility is there. The possibility is there. That's the point. So we have this example. We have the example of Bharat Maharaj. Yes, that was again for duty, because they saw that the land is not being properly used for agricultural purposes. And one more example is that of Jad Bharat. He also exhibited, and that is a very important purport. Okay, now you show this. 5th canto, 13th chapter, text 24. That's finished. 5, 13, 24. Read the translation and the purport.
Srila Chukdev Goswami continued, "My dear king, O son of Mother Uttara, there were some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind of Jadbharat due to his being insulted by King Raghuna."
Okay, so that's the important point. There were some waves of dissatisfaction even in the mind of Jadbharat.
Who made him carry his palanquin. But Jadbharat neglected this, and his heart again became calm and quiet like an ocean. Although King Raghuna had insulted him, he was a great Paramahamsa. Being a Vaishnava, he was naturally very kind-hearted, and he therefore told the king about the constitutional portion of the soul. He then forgot the insult because King Raghuna pitifully begged pardon at his lotus feet. After this, he began to wander all over the earth just as before. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev describes the symptoms of great personalities. Titikshva, Karunika, Surada, Sarvadehina. A saintly devotee is certainly very tolerant. He is the friend of all living entities, and he does not create enemies within the world. Pure devotee has all the qualities of sadhu. Jadbharat is an example of this.
Now this is the important point, the next sentence.
Due to the material body, his senses were certainly agitated when he was insulted by Raghuna.
That's the point. Due to the material body, his senses were certainly agitated when he was insulted by King. So that is the point. So because the material body is there, the influence of modes can take place. Because body means material elements, and material elements means the gunas have to be there. And so we can find even such an elevated person as Jadbharat, but still, because body was there, there is gross body, subtle body, and at least for some time his mind was agitated because of the insult. Go ahead.
But later, due to the king's humble submission, Jadbharat excused him. It is duty of everyone desiring to return to Godhead to become submissive like King Raghuna and beg pardon of Vaishnavas one may have offended. Vaishnavas are generally very kind-hearted. Therefore, if one immediately submits himself at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, one is immediately cleared of offensive reactions. If one does not do so, the reactions will remain and results will not be very palatable.
Right. So that is the point that we are looking for. So therefore, as long as the material body is there is always the possibility of being influenced by lower modes. So therefore, one should always be very careful.
Is it due to that?
Yes.
So, but how can a great soul have identification with material body?
How can?
How can a great soul have a material identification?
So that is what? Due to because material body means there is a possibility of being influenced by lower modes. The possibility is there. So here also we can see in the translation he is saying that for some time he became agitated, but then he forgot about it. Go to the translation.
But he forgot because of the submissiveness of...
Go to the translation. See here what he is saying. Due to some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind, but Jad Bharat neglected this. He neglected this and his heart again became calm and quiet like the ocean. So there were some waves of dissatisfaction.
But Prabhupada
But because he was so elevated, so therefore he could neglect it. He was not too much influenced.
But Prabhupada is saying his senses were certainly agitated when he was insulted, but
Yes.
later due to the king's humble submission he excused him.
But then you can see in the translation is saying even before that he neglected it. So he was not carried away. In the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he got carried away by the lower. He was influenced by the lower modes, then he got carried away. But here Jad Bharat, he was also influenced, but then he immediately neglected that emotion and then he became peaceful. So therefore, now you go to Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter. क्या कर रहे 14th chapter verses 22, 20, those series of verses. Correct. These are the symptoms of one who has transcended the modes. So now, go to the purport. So therefore, here Prabhupada is saying, when he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. That means he should not become agitated by the influence of the modes. So,
this influence of matter, even Chakravarti Thakur writes about when Lord Shiva is speaking to Sati.
Correct.
Because he is touched by now, he is not affected by someone's speech or something, but for seva he has touched the ignorance.
Correct.
So it has affected him for shadowy some time.
Correct.
He became little
Prabhupada writes
grief.
Prabhupada writes that in his purports, quoting Vishwanath Thakur. Yes. Yes, Prabhupada, you had something. Correct.
In 119.7.
19.7.
So Prabhupada, that conditions of material world are so made that one has to commit sins willingly or unwillingly. And that best example is Parishit Maharaj himself, who was recognized sinless, pious king, but became victim of offense he had committed against Brahmana.
Correct. So again, same point, that when one is in conditioned life, material body, then there's always some possibility is there. So therefore, one always has to be very careful. And therefore, yesterday you showed nice purport. We will refer to that in the Brahmachari class also. 5.18.4. Go back. 5.18.4. So here he very clearly says, that yes, therefore one should not think of himself as a liberated person immune to the influence of Maya. Before that, but because of association with the modes of material nature for a very long time, even liberated souls sometimes become captivated by the illusory energy due to inattentiveness in the transcendental position. Even liberated souls sometimes become captivated. There could be so many reasons, different reasons, but one has to be careful. That is the point. So therefore, till the last breath, one has to be careful. One can never take it for granted. Now I'm advanced. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying, where is that? Even where is that? Therefore, no one should think of himself as liberated person immune to the influence of Maya. Everyone should very cautiously execute devotional service by rigidly following regulative principles. Thus he will remain fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, a little inattention will create havoc. And then the example of Bharat Maharaj.
This, like here Jad Bharat, he got little agitated. But we see like some example, Amrish Maharaj, when he was like about to be killed, and even Parikshit Maharaj example we see. So there we see they don't get affected totally. Means they
Parikshit Maharaj got affected, therefore that purport he read just now.
Parikshit Maharaj means, okay, that is...
Of course, that is the... See, every pastime can be seen from different angles. If we see it as the plan of the Lord, then there is nothing to learn. But if we understand, so therefore Prabhupada is also seeing from another angle, and he's saying that yes, the nature of the material world is such, there is always possibility.
So Parikshit Maharaj did not take any action on, surely, on the Shringi.
No, Shringi that is okay, but then Shamik Rishi.
Shamik Rishi he took action. But for Amrish Maharaj it is said that he did not, he just folded palms and just...
So therefore it is not that always it is going to happen. Sometimes it can happen. The word of caution is there. There is a possibility. Therefore one should never think that now I am advanced, now I am liberated. So actually somebody who is on the liberated position, he always remains humble. Because that is also the symptom of an advanced person. One who is actually on prema, there is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you know. One who is actually on the level of prema, he automatically exhibits humility. So that is the quality of prema. Naturally one exhibits humility. And so therefore naturally one who is advanced will remain humble. Otherwise the danger is always there.
There is one question, like it is said that when somebody else is offended, devotee should try to counteract. But when one is offended, then one should not counteract. Now here, even if he is offended, he is feeling little agitation, but he is a very advanced devotee. But for all of our case, we will feel more agitated. Correct. So then we will take some actions.
So now it depends on every individual. It depends on the level of every individual. So then that is true. But then one has to understand what is appropriate action, which will ultimately please Guru and Krishna. So yes, if we simply act spontaneously out of influence of modes, then we can go wrong, na?
Yes.
So that is why Krishna is speaking about austerity of the body, austerity of speech, austerity of the mind. So as an austerity, then one has to control. Even though by the influence of the modes one is dictated to become angry, do this, do that. But at least as an austerity one has to try to control. That is the meaning of austerity, na? Tapasya. That is tapasya.
So, these are like some verbal, if somebody comes like physical with someone, I am asking, then what a devotee should, how a devotee should react?
So one has to do the needful. That is obvious. One has to do the needful. So that is why we discussed these points also. So that is what Narad Muni is telling the snake. So if somebody is coming to beat, it is not that one says, Trinadapi Sunichen, okay, beat me. No, that is not the point. So one has to do the needful. One has to use one's intelligence. But the important point is that one always has to be careful, cautious, not to become influenced by the lower modes. How? That's what Prabhupada is writing. Very cautiously execute devotional service by rigidly following regulative principles. Yes, by hearing. Yes, that's part of devotional.
Because it is, as you said, as long as the body is there, there will be influence of the three modes. So I remember last time Madhav Gopal, he was telling different categories of pure devotees. So one kind of pure devotee, he may get influence sometimes. In another category of pure devotee, where he doesn't get influence at all. So anybody remember, say, 3-4 category, Ananya Bhakta, and then he has Madhugopal. So is it that even a pure devotee like Nirupeksha, Sapeksha and Parinishtita, that stages, even that devotee also will get affected by 3 modes? Is it there possible?
Now whatever classification you're talking about, what is the position of Jad Bharat? What is position of Jad Bharat? Huh? Yeah, previously he was Bhava, but now as Jad Bharat, he is Mahabhagavat. Prabhupada writes that in his purports. He is Paramahamsa. Prabhupada writes, he is Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat. Now if he can get affected, then what to speak of others? Now we can see what was his position. Dacoits came to kill him, still he was unaffected. That is his level. But still, slight affection because of the insult. On the mental level it hurts more than physical.
Jad Bharat. That Jad Bharat here spoke because he was receptive to hear.
Correct.
So that there he didn't do anything because he knew.
Right.
So that also is
that
there.
purport is there. That he says that is how he gave mercy to them.
All 3.
Yes, he gave mercy to all 3. Yes.
And Sattva-gun people.
Yes.
Because he was in Sattva-gun, he can hear something, so he spoke.
Yes.
And
That's a different point. But the point
it's
that
a conscious.
But the point that we are discussing is how he became slightly affected.
Yes, and now coming to Amrish Maharaj, which he asked. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Jai Vijay episode, Jai Vijay also became angry. And Amrish Maharaj didn't become angry. So there he says that actually Lord awarded tolerance to Amrish Maharaj.
He awarded.
Yes. And Lord didn't award tolerance
that is his
to Jai Vijay so that this pastime will happen. So these people are completely controlled by the will of the Lord. So that is the case.
But then here you cannot say that Jad Bharat.
This case is different. He asked about Amrish, so I am talking about Amrish Maharaj. So there are people who are controlled by Lord, and
so things are quite dynamic. But the lesson that we are trying to learn. So if you see from absolute platform, then everything is perfect. But then when we come to our platform, then this is what we need to learn. That as far as we are concerned, as long as the material body is there, one should always be careful, because the possibility is there of being influenced by the lower.
So Lord Shiva's body, if we see those 5 extra qualities, in it is said that his body is transcendental, not material body. So Lord Shiva getting affected by the modes, is it a pastime or he actually got affected?
No, there he very clearly writes, no? Yes. So yes.
But if his body is transcendental,
no, actually Lord Shiva is always in the marginal position. So we cannot say completely transcendental also. Because for the influence of for the performing his duty in the material world, then he comes in contact with Tamogun. I don't know, maybe the eternal Sadashiv, maybe he does not, he is transcendental.
Sadashiv is Vishnu Tattva only.
No, his Tattva is different, Shiva Tattva. That Tattva always remains different. But then the eternal Sadashiv, then he is transcendental. But then the Shiva who deals with the material world, then he has to come in contact with Tamogun.
Prabhu, once I had asked Radhesham Prabhu about Durga Devi, that she gets angry on Chitraketu. That time she is the controller of the modes and she only gets affected by the modes. He said that she is beyond the modes. It is the Leela of the Lord, very clearly. She is beyond the modes. Now if Shiva is her Pati, how can he be ever affected by the modes?
See, of course, there we understand Chitraketu Maharaj's pastime, that was the plan of the Lord. As far as Durga Devi is concerned, yes, she is the controller of the modes. She is energy, she is Shakti. She is Shakti, Shakti Tattva.
Yeah, and Shiva is her pati. How can he ever be affected by that?
Yes, because he is coming in contact with the modes. So because
No,
of
I mean, Durga is also coming in contact. I mean, I don't understand it. So Durga
is not above the modes, or she is the modes only. Because Maya Shakti, she is Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti means three modes. So she is the personification of the three modes. So you cannot say she is above the modes. She is the modes only. Correct?
No, Radhesham Prabhu clearly said that she is a devotee, pure devotee of the Lord. She cannot be affected by the modes. She actually is an instrument of the modes for us. She cannot be. How can a person who is controlling us be controlled by that same thing? I mean, it's not. That's how Radhesham Prabhu told, and that is right. And now her pati, how can he be ever affected by the modes? I mean, that's
Okay.
the
See. We are not saying what we understand. We are simply repeating what the Acharya has said. So this is what the Acharyas have said. That is what we are repeating. That's all. So for time being, he became affected. That's all. So I have no further explanation. If somebody else has, you can say.
No, Prabhu, this is very clear. I'm talking only about, in case of Shiva and Durga Devi. This is very clear. This instance is very clear.
Okay, fine. It's clear, then it's fine. Okay, we'll stop for now. And okay, so what will be tomorrow's timings?
10 to 12:30. 10 o'clock till 12:30. Hare Krishna, so tomorrow class will be from 10 o'clock to 12:30, only 2.5 hour class. No break.
So 10 is okay or too early?
No, 10 is okay.
Huh? Prasanna. Huh? No, I'm asking. What do you say? 10 is too early or 10 is okay?
Prabhuji, if you...
that is no problem. 12:30 concluding, we are asking about starting time. I think so. We have only one chapter remaining. I think so. I will do, I think. 10:30 to 12:30 tomorrow, and then next day, because only one chapter is there. So I think so we can cover.
Okay, so 10:30 to 12:30 tomorrow.
ठीक है. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, संवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. Thank you much. Hare Krishna.